YouTube, this is Vargas XX78 with another Tales from the Vargas Vault. This time around, I wanted to share with you my Kaiju or Giant Monster movie collection. If you follow my channel, I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but when I was a kid, there was one channel in particular that would pass all these old cheesy 50s movies. And they would splice in kung fu movies, the kung fu with the cuts and the dubbing, American dubbing. And they would also pass Godzilla movies. And I loved that channel because it had a bunch of everything. And I enjoyed the hell out of those movies. A lot of people, they see those movies and they're like, oh, the effects are so cheap, or the monsters look like crap, and oh, look at that bad acting. But honestly, those movies forged my taste for bad movies. Now, the worst crime that a movie can ever do is it being boring. But I don't know. Because of that, growing up watching that stuff, I kind of have a tolerance for bad movies. A lot of people have gone to see movies and they're like, oh, this movie's shit, and you're like, and I'm like, well, you probably haven't seen this, or this movie. So yeah, and I'm always referencing movies that I know they're bad, but I enjoy. I don't consider Godzilla movies bad or kung fu movies bad. I grew up watching that genre, and I love that type of genre. So whenever a giant monster movie is announced, I go watch it, and or if I'm watching it on TV, I'll watch it because I love that kind of stuff. I love giant monster movies. I love Godzilla in particular. Godzilla is my main man. So I wanted to share in this Tale from the Vargas Vault my Godzilla Kaiju Giant Monster collection. I'm still missing a couple of movies. I don't have anything from Gamera, which is Godzilla's main competition. He's this giant turtle with teeth like this, and he goes around fighting monsters. While as Godzilla is more of a villain sometimes, Gamera was a villain in the first one, and after that, the movie was more kid-friendly, and he was like more of a savior of the Earth. So I'm missing that. I'm still missing Pacific Rim. I love Guillermo del Toro. He's an amazing director, and I, for the most part, own everything he has except Pacific Rim and Crimson Peak, which are the newest versions. I wanted to get the 2-disc set or the Blu-ray, but I haven't actually been able to get that movie. But I loved Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is a perfect example of someone that loves the same genre, giant monster movies, and through his vision, he brought that to life, and it worked. I loved Pacific Rim. If you haven't watched Pacific Rim, watch it. I like the fact that it's giant monsters fighting, but the design of the monsters is pretty cool. So I loved Pacific Rim, and that's a movie I still need to get to. Plus, I'm going to show off some King Kong. I only have 2 King Kong. King Kong also has a bunch of movies, so I'm missing some of that. Plus, there's some other movies that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, this is the video showcasing my somewhat awesome but still missing some key movies, Kaiju or Giant Monster movies. So I'm going to flip the camera and record. Bye. Okay, so flipping the camera over to show you, to get a better closer look at the covers of the Kaiju Giant Monster movie DVDs I have. It's not a big collection, I'll admit. I like what I have. I think I have some really cool stuff, but I'm still missing a bunch of other stuff. I still need to complete my Godzilla collection. I don't have any of the Gamera movies. I'm missing a couple of the Kong movies and some other stuff. So yeah, I don't own everything. I'm working on it, but what I got, I'm very happy with. So let's start off with this one. Me and the wife went off one day to a fair. It was a food fair, and a little bit before the food fair, this guy set up shop. And he was selling a bunch of random stuff. He was selling food and anything. And but he had this. The Godzilla collection. Includes the original uncut Godzilla. So it has Japanese writing there, and it has all the monsters in the Toho movie collection. Let's see if I can zoom this. It's got Gojira, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla Raids Again, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla vs. The Thing, which is the alternate name for Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidra, the Three-Headed Monster, Invasion of the Astro Monster, aka Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, All Monsters Attack, aka Godzilla's Revenge, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. So the box is a little beat up. It has a little wear in it, but I got this really cheap, like a lot cheaper than I thought I would get it. And it opens up like this, and it has all the DVDs here. Let me see if I can get them out. So this is the first one that's included in this box set. It's Gojira, or the original name for Godzilla. It's black and white. This is the original Japanese uncut, because it also includes the American version, and the American version has Raymond Burr in it. So what they did there is that they took the original Japanese film, and then they spliced Raymond Burr in it, so that Perry Mason is Raymond Burr. Yeah, you know, that's the best reference I could give you. If you watch Perry Mason, he's Raymond Burr. So they would splice in Raymond Burr talking about the things that were happening in Godzilla. So, you know, for the American audiences, because not a lot of people would, you know, sit through Japanese with subtitles. But this one has the original one, and it's still sealed. I actually haven't opened it yet. I haven't seen the original Godzilla, but the original Godzilla plays it more like a really dark disaster movie, because Godzilla really is like a force of nature. So this is cool that it has the original Japanese one and the American one, and then it has, I don't know why it got stuck like this, but it has Godzilla Raids Again. And I like this. It's not a steel book thing. It's like just really hard cardboard. But again, it has the Japanese version, and it's in completely Japanese with English subtitles, and then it has the American version, which is dubbed with American voices. I grew up watching, like I said, I grew up watching the Godzilla movies with the American voice dub, and for nostalgia reasons, I dig it that way. But I still put on the Japanese dub from time to time, because I like listening. I don't mind subtitles. And we have Godzilla vs. Mothra. I really dig Godzilla vs. Mothra. And same thing, it has the Japanese language with subtitles, and then it has the US version. The thing about the US version is that they do cut some things. So it's cool to have both versions in a single set. Then we have Ghidra. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster. I always thought Mechagodzilla was Godzilla's best villain, because he's like kind of like a dark version of Godzilla. But a lot of people like Ghidorah or Ghidra. I dig him fine. I'm okay with him. Visually, he's really cool. So we got that, and they got Invasion of Astro Monster, which is Godzilla fighting against Ghidorah again. And we got All Monsters Attack. This one's not that good. And then we got Terror of Mechagodzilla. I'm missing. I want to track down a copy of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. I have fond memories of that one. This one is the sequel. But like I said, I dig the hell out of Mechagodzilla. I think Mechagodzilla is Godzilla's main baddie in my book. A lot of people disagree, but I don't know. I just really like Mechagodzilla. Then we got some all-American versions of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Like I said, this is the spliced version with the original Japanese footage, and they added Raymond Burr in it. But I dig it. I love this. I love this version. This is the version that I saw a bunch of times, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. Then we have, bought this at Walmart, King Kong versus Godzilla. Obviously, they made King Kong, I'm sorry, they made King Kong a lot bigger, because Godzilla's bigger than the building, and King Kong climbed the Empire State Building, so he's not that big. But in this one, they beefed him up. They made King Kong ginormous, and he has a cool fight. It's more of a comedy movie, but I love the fights. The fight scenes with Godzilla and King Kong. I have heard that they are planning on doing a remake of this. I don't know if they're going to use the design for the newer Godzilla, but I have heard that they're going to work on a King Kong versus Godzilla remake. I'm not a fan of remakes. There have been remakes that have surprised me, but I don't like remakes in general. But I am looking forward to this. I would love to see a remade King Kong versus Godzilla. I love the original. I love it to hell, but I would like to see a remake of King Kong versus Godzilla. That's actually a remake I would look forward to. Then we got an all-American version of Godzilla versus Mothra. I like Mothra a lot. The look of Mothra has changed over the years, just like Godzilla. But this movie I like a lot. I dig this movie a lot. And we have another copy of Terror of Mechagodzilla. Again, I need to get Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. But I really dig Mechagodzilla. I really adore the concept and look of Mechagodzilla. But, yeah, and he's been in a bunch of movies, so yeah. Picked up the American Godzilla from the creators of Independence Day. I was looking forward to this a lot, because I love Godzilla, and I grew up watching the Godzilla movie. So when I heard that they were going to do a version of Godzilla over here in America, I was like, yeah, cool. And from the creators of Independence Day, I love Independence Day, so I was hyped. And when I saw that first commercial with a T-Rex, because it had some kids going to a museum, and they were like, oh, this is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, it's the biggest predator the Earth has ever seen. And then a T-Rex looking foot, a giant T-Rex looking foot, smashes the T-Rex bones, and then everyone's like, oh, what the hell was that? And I'm like, wait, Godzilla doesn't have T-Rex legs, what's going on with that? The promotion was insane. They had everything. Godzilla was plastered everywhere. It's one of those few times that I'm genuinely impressed with the promotion of a movie, and they hyped this movie like crazy. But in the end, the movie was not that good. Godzilla wasn't as big as it should have been. He wasn't as intimidated as he should have been, and yeah, then they made Godzilla pregnant, and he laid eggs, and the legs were like little raptors. It really looked like they were trying to rip off Jurassic Park, honestly, and that didn't jive with me. He didn't have atomic breath. It's not a good movie. I watch it, but like a lot of people, I don't consider it a Godzilla movie. It's an interesting giant monster movie, but it should not have been called Godzilla. It could have been called the Iguana Monster, because that's what this is. It's a giant iguana monster. And that would have been more accurate. This thing should not be called Godzilla. Even the Japanese don't consider this a Godzilla movie. They call it Scylla. The monster in this is called Scylla. There's nothing godly about this thing. But I was watching Movie John's update video, and he had a copy of this that has like a metallic look. This one doesn't. This one, even with the glare, this one does not have any sort of metallic look. So I'm wondering if his edition is a first printing or a better copy of this, because that looked cool. And I also bought this at Walmart. It's a triple feature: Godzilla and Mothra: The Battle for Earth. This is when they brought back Godzilla, and with different costumes and more special effects. Then Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, and Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. This one, This one is pretty cool. Godzilla looks all evil because his eyes are all blank, and he goes around destroying things. He's the villain in this, and Godzilla has had an interesting career because he's been a villain. He started off as a villain, not a villain, like a monster, a force of nature, a force of destructive nature monster. He would go around and just mess people's stuff up, and then they made him a hero, and then an environmentalist, and then he went back to being a monster, then a hero, and this one he's a monster. He's a villain. He goes around and destroys everything. Actually, the heroes are the villains in other movies. But Mothra and King Ghidorah are the heroes in this, trying to stop Godzilla. But Godzilla's Godzilla. He's the king of the monsters for a reason. But I like this one a lot. I dig this one a lot. This is pretty cool. The effects are pretty cool. I like this one a lot. But out of the resurgence, I still need to track down the Mechagodzilla movie and Godzilla vs. Destroyer, which is the one where Godzilla dies. So I'm still building, and I'm still on the lookout for Godzilla movies. Then we have Godzilla Final Wars. This is an all-out monster bash because they got every one of the Godzilla monsters. You got Ghidorah, Mothra, the American Godzilla is in this, but they call him Scylla. And this is just a cool movie. It has a lot more of the humans, but the humans are doing like this badass kung fu thing. And so you got Godzilla messing up monsters, and then the humans having really cool fight scenes. So this is until now the last of the Toho Godzilla movies. But I have heard that they are, after the success of the new American movie, Toho released a trailer for a new Godzilla, and the design of that one looks like he looks like he did in the Destoroyah movie, where he has like fire effects inside of him. The other thing that throws me off out of that new Toho movie is the tail seems too big. But other than that, super hyped, and I hope they bring that one over because I want to see more Toho Godzilla. I'm a huge fan of the guy inside the rubber suit type of Godzilla movies. I don't like the first American Godzilla, but I love that kind of movies. I grew up watching these kind of movies, and I'm looking forward to that. And I picked up at Target when it was cheap the Blu-ray DVD combo pack of the second American Godzilla. This one's pretty cool. I like the effects in this one. I like that Godzilla doesn't look. He's CGI. There's motion capture, so he kind of does look like someone walking on a giant suit, even though everything's CGI. But I don't know. He looked, even though he's computer generated, he looked like his movements were like someone inside a suit, and I dug the hell out of that. I love this movie. It has a lot of monster tease. I don't like the design of the monsters. They look a lot like the Cloverfield monster. But the villains are kind of bleh. But Godzilla, his design is pretty cool. The other thing I didn't like is that, like I said, there's a lot of tease. Godzilla meets up with a monster, and they're going to fight, and then the damn movie cuts. And they do that like 3 times. But the payoff, I will admit, is pretty cool. At the end, when Godzilla is finally fighting against the monsters, and honestly, I got chills when his back started glowing, and he was going to do the atomic breath, and then he opens the other monster's mouth, and then just blasts the hell out of him with atomic breath. Freaking love that scene. That scene almost made all the tease worth it. But I love this one, and they're working on a sequel, so I'm looking forward to this sequel as well, because I dug this a lot. This completely erases the horrible first American Godzilla movie, and this one brings back the King of the Monsters in a very cool way. I definitely love this Godzilla. And I have this in the Kaiju-Giant Monster collections, even though it's a video game, but it's for the Nintendo GameCube. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. It's a fighting video game, but you get to pick again. You get to pick all of the Godzilla monsters, And it has Godzilla, and you can play as Retro Godzilla, and it has Ghidorah, it has Rodan, it has Mecha Ghidorah, Mecha Godzilla, the slime monster, bunch of cool. There's another one for the Wii, but that one's super expensive. But if I ever see it cheap, I'll buy it. This one I bought at Kmart, and it's a sci-fi creatures classic, but it's full of giant monsters. It has 20 million miles to Earth, the giant claw. I bought this one because of Mothra and the giant claw. Because James Rolfe did a video for Monster Madness, or he talked about, I'm pretty sure it was Monster Madness, that he talked about the giant claw. And he says it's the most ridiculous monster he has ever seen. And it's this like really goofy looking vulture. But again, I grew up watching a lot of cheesy kung fu and giant monster movies, so this was just right up my alley, and it's ridiculous. We'll admit the design for the monster is ridiculous, but it's still pretty cool, I thought. So it has a giant claw. It came from beneath the sea, which is a giant squid or a kraken. And it has Mothra. So the giant claw and Mothra were the two reasons I bought this one, because Mothra and Rodan had their own standalone movies before they actually got incorporated into Godzilla. So I still need to track down Rodan. Now this is not a kaiju, but it's a giant monster, and it's actually the first monster movie, King Kong, and I love King Kong. This movie is amazing. When you really think what they did with stop motion back in the 30s, this honestly blows my mind at everything they accomplished, the new technology that they created to bring Kong to life. I watched the movie itself is freaking amazing. Everyone should watch King Kong, the original one, and but the documentary is so in depth. It's amazing. It also has a segment with Peter Jackson trying to recreate a lost spider scene in the movie, because King Kong was a longer movie, but some chunks were cut off because people were saying that, oh, this is too scary, and so they cut off a bunch of scenes, and some of them have been lost. The spider pit scene is the only one that no one has been able to find a copy of. But Peter Jackson and Weta tries to recreate it, and it's really cool. I really, really love the original King Kong. And King Kong has released there's Son of Kong, which came out a year after this one, and then there's a bunch of remakes that I need to track down and haven't been able to actually get. The only one I got is the Peter Jackson King Kong. I feel this movie is way too long. It takes like an hour and a half for them just to get to Skull Island, and that's when the action starts. But oh my god, this movie drags at the first half. But once they get to Skull Island, and once they actually meet up, Kong looks amazing. King Kong looks, holy shit! This King Kong look good in my opinion. He's CGI, but again, he's motion captured like in the New American Godzilla, and that adds a lot to him. But he still looks amazing, and the fight with Godzilla, and they're not called Godzilla again. I have Godzilla in the head. The fight with King Kong and the T-Rexes, they're not called T-Rexes. They're called V-Rexes because they're different than a T-Rex, I guess. But that sequence was amazing. I freaking love that scene. And the end when he's in the building. So Peter Jackson says that the original King Kong is his motivation for making movies. A lot of people quote the original King Kong as a motivator to get into film. So this was a labor of love. He went and wanted to show the world his love for King Kong. And it shows in some parts. But other parts, it drags on and on and on. And oh my god, the movie is so boring in the first hour and a half. But again, once they get to Skull Island, it picks up and it's a lot better. There's a bunch of versions of this. I want to get, if possible, the 3-disc version, because this one's just the movie. It has no special features. But that 3 disc set that I've seen at Big Lots actually has the movie, an extended stuff, and special features. So I'm hoping I can get that one. I don't mind double dipping for special features. Now this one, it's not kaiju, but it's a giant monster movie, and you can't get any more giant than dinosaurs. So this is Jurassic Park. Has a golden look to it, plus the glare from the bag. I'm really obsessive with DVDs. I open them very carefully, and I try to keep the bag intact so dust doesn't collect inside. I am the first to admit that I'm super obsessive compulsive when it comes to my movies, but Jurassic Park, I freaking love Jurassic Park. I've always loved dinosaurs because I grew up watching Godzilla. I always identified Godzilla with dinosaurs, so I fucking love dinosaurs. And when I saw the trailers for this movie, I was hyped, and I went to see it, and I was blown away by how beautiful and amazing the dinosaurs look. I couldn't believe, when this movie came out, that I honestly believe that they brought back dinosaurs and filmed them for the movie. I was relatively young, and CGI was a new thing, and I was like, oh my god, how did they film these freaking dinosaurs and the T-Rex scene? Oh my god, that freaking T-Rex scene is so. I watched this recently, and it's still, that T-Rex scene is still amazing. And the cool thing about it is that they combined amazing CGI with practical giant mechanical dinosaurs, which adds a lot to the wow factor in this movie. They built this giant animatronic T-Rex to chew on the car and go after the kids, and I freaking love Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park. It's amazing. It still holds up in my opinion. Then we got Jurassic Park The Lost World. Jurassic Park 2 The Lost World. Even though it's called The Lost World Jurassic Park, I call it Jurassic Park 2 The Lost World. And this one is they bring back some of the cast. Jeff Goldblum is the only one that really is in the biggest chunk of the movie. And they go to a different island where the dinosaurs are, developing. They didn't die out as they thought they would. So the company that created them wants to, bring them to an amusement park. A lot of people hate it, but I love dinosaurs, so I love this movie. And the last scene where the T-Rex escapes and he's going on a rampage in San Diego was kind of like a mini Godzilla attack for me, so I dug the hell out of that. I freaking love this movie too. And then we have Jurassic Park 3. A lot of people hate this movie, and it has some really cool elements. The dinosaurs still steal the show. The only thing I didn't like is that they killed the T-Rex with this new Spinosaurus monster thing that they tried to introduce. They were like, "Oh, you love the T-Rex? Fuck that guy. We got a new, better version." And that sucked. But everything else was cool. I liked, though, where they're with the pterodactyls. I don't remember if they're called pterodactyls, but they look like pterodactyls. Where they're in the aviary and they're trying to escape from pterodactyls, and it's full of fog and everything. I love horror movies too, and that one had a very horror movie vibe, where everything was foggy and they couldn't see, and then all of a sudden it looks like a man is walking to them, but it's a pterodactyl, and then all hell breaks loose. So there are scenes that I like of this movie. Plus, they brought back Professor Grant from the first one. So yeah, it's a hated sequel. I hate what they did with the T-Rex, but I still dig Jurassic Park 3. Again, maybe it's my love for dinosaurs that kind of blinds me, but I dug the hell out of it. And I dug the hell out of Jurassic World. I got this one at Walmart. It's a tin that has the Blu-ray DVD plus some other stuff. But I love this, so I bought it. And Jurassic World feels like they were trying to do this where the or maybe they were addressing the criticism, or maybe they were trying to show, okay, this was done handled badly. We're going to show you how to do it right. And because this one, the company builds up, gets all the dinosaurs, and makes the concept of a theme park with dinosaurs work, and everything's going fine. But then the executives, which is what would happen in real life, are like, oh, the dinosaurs are not exciting anymore. We want to create something new. Again, kind of like referencing what this thing did. We want to do something new. We want to give people something new. Dinosaurs are boring. Let's gene splice a bunch of dinosaurs and create a genetically engineered dinosaur that we're probably not going to be able to control because we know jack shit about what we're doing. And let's see how that goes. And they do. And of course, the Indominus Rex, which is a mixture of T-Rex and Raptor and other dinosaurs. It can camouflage like a chameleon, breaks out and unleashes hell on this. But I like the design of the Indominus. But the last fight with T-Rex, a Raptor, and the Indominus, I thought was really cool. Again, I love that kind of stuff. And that scene was amazing to see the T-Rex and the Raptor gang up on the Indominus. There's a really, really depressing and really, really hard to watch scene because there's the secretary that's taking care of some kids, and then Pterodactyl takes her and he's playing with her, and the poor lady's screaming. You're like, oh my god, this poor lady. And then all of a sudden, the pterodactyl and the lady get eaten by a giant sea dinosaur, and I'm like, oh my god, that's horrible. What the hell did this poor woman do to deserve that? Because they follow the pterodactyl playing around with the lady, and you know, she's screaming, and you're like, oh, this is kind of hard to watch. And then out of the blue, the damn thing the lady gets eaten by this giant ass whale dinosaur, and that scene was like, oh wow, I'm gonna make a list of scenes in the movie that were like, that kind of threw me off. But that one was, wow, I was like, what the hell did that poor lady do to deserve this? But I love Jurassic World. The only problem with that one is that it doesn't have, it's a lot more CGI. It doesn't have as many practical dinosaur effects as the other original three, which kind of sucks because it looks a lot faker. But I still love Jurassic World. It's cool. And we have Cloverfield by J.J. Abrams. Giant monster. The monsters look like the monsters in the Godzilla movie, but this one was first. Huge fan of giant monster movies. This is a found footage monster movie where this monster is running amok in New York and these characters are trying to survive. But I like that point of view. Like, you know, you always see in Godzilla movies humans dealing with the fallout, but this one does it in a very cool way because, you know, it's a first-person movie, so you're actually getting a first look at what it's like, or what it would be like if a giant-ass monster would attack the world or a city. And I dug this one a lot. A lot of people got motion sick with this, but I was fine with it, and I like this one a lot, actually. Then we have an Asian movie, The Host. This is a smaller scale monster movie, but it's still a good movie. It's like this giant tadpole that attacks and drags people into his lair to eat them. But he also is kind of like carrying this flu-like disease. So everywhere he goes, he spreads pestilence and death. And I dug this movie a lot. It's an Asian film, so it doesn't have any English dub. At least my version doesn't have. It's what is this? It's Korean with Spanish subtitles. Oh, actually, it does have Spanish. Oh, I went straight with the Korean with subtitles. This is the Mexican version. There's an American version, but I don't know if that one is dubbed in English. So, to my knowledge, it's only Korean with subtitles. But that one was pretty good. Again, it's a smaller scale monster movie, but it's done very well. I dug this one a lot. And the last one in my giant monster kaiju collection is Monsters vs. Aliens. This is an animated one. Oh, my little kid woke up. I'm gonna speed this up. But it has 50-foot. It has a lot of reference to old 50s movies, which I dug. But it also has a Godzilla reference with the giant butterfly monster, and so I thought it was pretty cool. I love this movie, and in my collection, it's part of my giant monster kaiju collection. So yeah, that's the collection. My little baby woke up, so I gotta hurry up. But like I said, it's still a working process. I still need the Gamera movies. I still need a couple of more Godzillas. And there's some other... I still need Pacific Rim. I love Pacific Rim. Uh, but yeah, so thanks so much for watching. And until I see you all again, this is Vargas XX78 thanking you and signing out.